Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that. But you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life. I never thought like you dig like.
You made a comparison with you and Nas, man. Everybody was talking about it. Now, why out of everybody you pick Nas, bro?
I didn't do it.
They asked him.
No,
they asked him.
Song?
No.
You don't like Ace Trumpets? Oh, what's so great about it? It's so good.
Came into light and started going crazy that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them. Some of them know. But
you know what I mean?
A lot of them know.
You say that,
Jim Jones messed with the wrong legends this time, Nas and Pusha T, and he didn't just throw a little shade, he came for both of them back to back like he had nothing left to lose. Now his whole rap career is barely hanging on. That's all it took to turn the entire culture against him. He said Nas was never really that impactful. He called Pusha T overrated. And then he said he was the reason Nas went viral again. That's when things hit a whole new level. People say that was the moment he crossed the line, and there's no coming back from it. This ain't looking like your usual rap beef. It feels like something bigger, like moves were already being made behind the scenes. So now people are asking, was this just Jim's ego spiraling out of control, or is hip-hop quietly pushing him out of the game he helped build? That quote, it's still spreading like wildfire. Then his Summer Jam set got chopped down, and Pusha T, he's far from finished. So let's rewind and figure out what really set off this slow public takedown, because that one sentence from Jim wasn't just shade, it was pure erasure. He wasn't just critiquing Nas's recent drops, he straight up dismissed the legacy of one of hip-hop's most respected icons. Let's break it down. This didn't go down on just any platform. Jim Jones dropped this bomb on the Joe and Jada podcast, a show known for light talk and jokes, not career self-sabotage. But instead of dialing it back, Jim went all in. With his chest out, he said Nas never really mattered to the culture. Then he tried to flex like his Billboard stats could match or even top Nas.
My son can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like, let's keep it above my Nas. But remember, Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade. So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like you dig, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan, period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you got to realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that, I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation.
Wild, right? Let's get one thing straight. Nas ain't just a rapper, he's a cornerstone of hip-hop. Illmatic is literally taught in college. Ether still haunts rappers to this day. And King's Disease, that proved Nas is still leveling up. Meanwhile, Jim's out here talking like he just dropped the Chronic or something. The wild part, this wasn't even about rap for real, it was ego talk. It came off like insecurity disguised as opinion. And the moment he dragged his kid into the convo, people were like, what kind of message is that? The internet came for him fast. Folks started posting receipts, award after award, sold out show after show, classic album after classic album, all from Nas.
Jimmy boy, you should have never brought this up. Y'all are only 3 years apart, and Nas is just like murdering you. You asked us to look up the stats, and here they are. Like Jim Jones, like you got a couple songs. I mean, like literally, it's a couple. But we're talking about Nas. Let me show y'all Nas's last projects. Nas been getting it in since 2018. Jimmy, when the last time you put out an album? Oh, would you look at that? You have been dropping music. You've really been dropping music. But nobody's heard it.
And Jim's chart numbers, they didn't exactly hold up under pressure. All this chaos just because he tried to rewrite hip-hop history with a hot take that nobody asked for. Now, most people, after getting roasted online for disrespecting a legend, might backtrack a little, or at least chill out for a second, but not Jim. Instead, he jumped on Nightcap, looked Shannon Sharp dead in the eye, and tripled down. He straight up said Nas never had the influence people think he did. Then he dropped the wildest claim yet. He said Nas was always in second place. Hold up, second to who exactly? Jay-Z and DMX? That comparison don't even make sense.
At all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life.
Now, has Nas reached out to you?
You did. The last time he was in some like this where people were comparing is when him and Jay was beating on him. You heard? You did? Like, that, and I don't want to talk about other people's career, but let's just get to the semantics of it.
Have you spoken to Nas since the whole thing?
Nas.
Okay.
I don't know Nas to have a conversation with him. You don't have a conversation, we can have that too and shit like that. You dig? Like, I don't really care.
One thing I did see you do, I've seen you do this in Say Less, I've seen you do this in the studio.
All three of them brought something totally different to the game. Nas was deep, poetic, and spiritual. Jay brought the business mind and slick hustle. DMX was raw emotion, chaos, and street pain. That's like trying to compare Kendrick to Future. Different vibes, different lanes, different missions. But Jim saying Nas never led the pack? That's not just a wild take. That's straight up rewriting history. And here's the kicker. Jim doesn't even hide the fact that he was a Nas fan. He even admitted he wanted to dress like Nas back in the day. So now all of a sudden, that same Nas ain't got influence? This is where things start sounding straight up delusional. At this point, it's not even about stats or opinions anymore. Jim's talking like he needs Nas to be beneath him, and he's clearly mad the numbers just don't back him up. This wasn't about healthy debate. It was about positioning. Jim wanted to prove he belonged in the same convo as the GOATs. But instead of leveling up, he just exposed how deep his insecurities run about never being mentioned with the legends. And if you thought he'd chill after all that, nah, think again. On Bag Fuel, Jim dropped one of the wildest quotes of this whole saga. He didn't just say Nas wasn't relevant. He didn't just say Nas was second place. Jim went even further and claimed he's the one who brought Nas back into the spotlight. Like what? Jim was out here acting like the whole culture needed to thank him for reminding us that Nas still exists. The backlash was instant. One fan clapped back saying, "The reason you're being talked about is because you're making stupid comments about Nas. And that's the only reason people are interviewing you for the clicks." And honestly, they're not wrong. Jim still ain't made no real impact, and fans aren't holding back. One person said, "The amount of delusional disrespect from Jim Jones towards Nas is getting out of hand. I'm sick of it," another added. "You don't earn no stripes talking wild like this?" And the numbers? Still not mathing. Nas has been putting in work. 3 solid albums in just 5 years, a Grammy win, multiple sold-out shows. He's been staying active and relevant while Jim's been sitting behind a mic, podcasting like that's the same level. Jim thought he was starting some bold movement, but all he really kicked off was the soundtrack to his own career funeral. Flashback to 2024, Paris. The Louis Vuitton Spring-Summer Show is packed. We're talking Beyonce, Jay-Z, Rihanna, LeBron, and every other major force in music, fashion, and culture. Cameras flashing, eyes locked in. Pharrell's debuting his first collection as the new head of Louis Vuitton Men's, and the whole thing already felt legendary. Then the beat drops, and this ain't just some runway background music, it's Clipse. For the first time in over 10 years, Pusha T and his brother No Malice are on stage together, dropping a brand new track.
Let's go! In 2 years, like I was back cruising. Get the show as your tongue snapping and consuming. I was just assuming you keep it go boom, but I got one question.
And the lyrics, you could feel the air change. The energy shifted instantly. Even Jay-Z was nodding along. That wasn't just some stylish moment. It was a full-blown declaration of war. In the middle of the biggest, flashiest event of the season, they used that beat to make a loud, clear statement. Everybody knew who that shot was aimed at. That chasing a feature out of your element bar, straight up fire at Jim Jones, no question. It was a direct hit at him, linking up with Drake after getting crowned an honorary Dipset member on stage in Harlem. And let's not forget, that's the same Drake that Pusha T destroyed in The Story of Adidon. Drake never fully bounced back from that. So now Jim's teaming up with him? Yeah, Pusha saw that and made his move. But this wasn't Pusha dropping some random diss on SoundCloud. Nah, this was calculated. This was chess. He used Paris Fashion Week as the battleground. That's how far ahead he's playing, while others are still stuck in podcast beef. Meanwhile, Jim's out here dragging Pusha on every mic he can find. Breakfast Club, Rap Caviar, Drink Champs, talking wild like Pusha's not even top 50.
You sing along the 5 Pusha T records right now, his records.
Yes.
His records?
Yeah.
Name
I love Pusha. Nostalgia.
Oh, you was a Pusha T fan.
If you know, you know.
I didn't know he had fans like that. Can you name 5 Pusha T records? No, his records. Pusha T, I love your soul, my dog. You're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that. But
top 50.
You haven't done that much for me in my life. Like, I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life. I never thought, like you dig, like, where I'm from, I just want to be like you if you was really that dude and that rapper and things like that.
Wayne wanted to be like Pusha? Yeah. He was influenced by Pusha?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's why Pusha did the Mr. Me Too record.
Okay, cool. You a very strong Pusha T fan. You heard? Mm-hmm. But what else has he bring to the game? Did he make people want to dress like him? Did he have some slang that everybody was talking like him? There would be the girls, all the girls wanted to do him. Like, what is the...
Really? But while Jim was busy shouting in interviews, Pusha lined up billionaires, luxury brands, and straight-up goats in the front row of his revenge. And the best part? The deeper layers. This wasn't just about lyrics. It was about the location. Pharrell produced the track, the same Pharrell who built Clipse' signature sound. He's got deep roots in both Virginia and the fashion elite. They dropped Chains and Whips, a track reportedly created in Louis Vuitton's headquarters in Paris, overlooking the Seine River. Pharrell even told the New York Times, pointing out the window, "That was made in this room." We just start walking around looking out this window and you see all of this? I mean, we beating the system, bro. That's how Pharrell described it. But while Pusha T was playing chess in Paris, Nas was quietly building a whole empire back in Queens.
The future is not something you wait for, it's something you build. It lives in the hands of the doers, the dreamers, the people who refuse to stand still. Resorts World is more than a casino. It's energy, it's opportunity, it's hope for the borough. A second chance for some, a first step for many. It's where community gathers, not just to win, but to build a future once imagined. This isn't just business, this is legacy. And now, it's time to invest in us.
While Jim was out here chasing blog headlines and podcast clips, Nas was unveiling Resorts World Queens, a 350,000 square foot casino and entertainment complex backed by a $5 billion vision. This ain't just some brand deal. This is Nas investing in infrastructure, equity, and generational wealth for his entire borough. Meanwhile, Jim's still bragging about Summer Jam lineups like it's 2008. Nas didn't need to clap back with a verse, he clapped back with receipts and trust. Those hits landed way harder than any diss track ever could. Fans peeped it right away. Comments under his post were ruthless. One person wrote, "Someone out here can't stop yapping for clout while Nas is out here making boss moves." When you're really rich, really respected, and still relevant, you don't gotta argue online. You let your life speak for you. And Jim, he couldn't even hold the stage. Let's paint the picture. Summer Jam 2024, his big moment, the one he'd clearly been chasing all year. But when he finally touched that stage, crickets. Dead crowd, no energy, no love. The same culture he tried to clown left him standing alone with a mic and no momentum. Then it got even worse.
You say that, yeah.
Funkmaster Flex, yeah, that Flex, who's been one of Jim's loudest supporters for years, straight up cut his set short. And you can see it hit Jim in real time. That was supposed to be his big comeback moment, but it flopped. All that noise he stirred up around this beef, it didn't translate, because when it came down to it, Jim didn't show up with the hits. He brought drama. And somehow, even after all that, he still wasn't done. Jim had one more diss locked and loaded, and this one hit personal. After the Louis Vuitton moment, Pusha T stayed low. No interviews, no online jabs. But behind the scenes, the streets were talking. And word is, Pusha ain't finished. Sources close to Clipse say their upcoming reunion album is packed with surgical shots aimed directly at Jim. That Paris track, that was just the warning shot. What's coming next is much darker. Some insiders are already calling it the Coke Bear moment, because Pusha is fully stepping into that cold-blooded villain energy. He's done playing it safe, and if Jim keeps poking the bear, it's gonna end in lyrical murder. And it ain't just about bars, it's about the strategy. Pusha's comeback is tied to elite spaces, luxury brands, and international stages. Meanwhile, Jim's in Harlem alleyways, rapping over the same exact beat that just buried him in Paris. Yup, you read that right. Jim tried to flip the Chains and Whips beat and drop a freestyle like that was gonna save him. But instead, it just dug the hole deeper. Jim really crossed the line when he took it there. He even threw shade at No Malice. And that's where it stopped being beef and turned into flat-out disrespect. Pusha can handle shots. He's been built for this. But dragging in No Malice, a man who stepped away from rap to follow his faith and turn his life around, that wasn't just reckless, it was low. Pusha T hasn't clapped back publicly yet, but if you know his history, you know this. He don't rush. He moves smart. And when he finally strikes, it's surgical. It's lethal. Then Jim made his biggest mistake yet. He dissed Clipse's new single on camera during an interview. The track, Chains and Whips, follow-up, Ace Trumpets. Instead of staying quiet, Jim took one last messy swing, saying he doesn't listen to Clipse and never has. But come on, the fake cool wasn't fooling nobody. You could hear the insecurity in every word. Deep down, he knows exactly who they were aiming at. And they hit. And here's where the whole energy shifts. It's not just Pusha and Nas anymore. The culture itself is closing the door on Jim. Blogs are cooking him. Even old Dipset fans are turning, saying he needs to hang it up. This wasn't a rap beef. It was a lesson. Jim walked into the ring thinking he had enough bars to hang with Nas and Pusha T and got folded without them even raising their voices. Just silence, strategy, and power moves from billionaires. He's not trending, he's not on playlists, he's barely even a headline. Jim's becoming a ghost in the very game he once helped build. And the wildest part, the next Clipse album still hasn't even dropped yet. That might be the final nail in the coffin. So if you thought this beef was wild, wait until you see what's coming next. Smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.